Greetings, people. It's Mr. Paul the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series.
I have so many voice notes. I even have Jeremiah's voice record. So for those of you who are saying, in another get content, we have a lot. Not from this month, not from last month, from 5-6 months ago, and we don't use it. We don't see it. It's not important. What we want is the baby. Whatever you want to do, plant the baby in Jeremiah's house. So plant it in Ruth's house. So plant it in my own house. So plant it in what's it called? South Africa. Anywhere they want to plant it. All we just want is the baby. And bet me, once we have the baby, your name is off our mouths. All of you calling yourself prophet and prophetess, these things that I'm just saying now, that I just read now, it involves your so-called spiritual father, Warri Prophet, who is also a wolf in sheep clothing. A very fake one at that, who gave us fake prophecies. He gave us a fake prophecy about the coming out of the baby. We are still waiting to date. Fake. Later came out and lied that he never said that. Say in your own ear. Now in the pain. I don't understand well.
To some part of enlightenment that was revealed by my sister Chantel. You know, this particular information, I had kind of reserved it for 2023 because I know in 2023 we are going to be touching the untouched. We are going to be entering lions' dens. We are going to be unscrewing all the tight nuts that are or that have contributed to the captivity of baby testimony. So many people have been asking. I think I did quite a few episodes in the past. If you have been following me long enough, you probably know that I once touched on Tompolo, just scraping the surface. I didn't really go deeper into, talking much about him or exposing what Tompolo stands for, because the reason why I'll touch on Tompolo is because of his relationship with Jeremiah Omoto for fame. So I wanted to give an impression that when it comes to baby testimony, I fear no man. I fear no evil. I climb any mountain. I go down any ocean. I can cross any river regardless of the reptiles that are inside it until we get baby testimony. So I wanted to prove it to her that there is no man under the sun that breathes the same air that I breathe, that has flesh and blood like myself, that I can ever put on a higher regard or on a pedestal, or that I can ever bow down to, or that I am scared to expose if they are in the wrong, especially when it comes to this case of baby testimony. So the question that most of you are asking right now is, who is Tompolo? Who's this guy called Tompolo? Tompolo is an ex-Delta militant who resides in the Delta region. I'm going to bring him up. I'm going to crack him up nicely and openly. I know most of Nigerians are afraid of this brother because he's a Delta militant. He controls all these Nigerians with big, big guns. And they can do anything. They'll come after you. They'll come and pick you up from South Africa. That's what they say whenever I bring about this guy called Tompolo. But for your own information, Tompolo actually has his brother who's here in South Africa at Sun City. And Sun City is a prison. Here we don't tolerate criminals. Anyone that is against or on the wrong side of the law, they get locked up, they get put in places where they belong. Men like Tompolo only have influence and they are only respected and are only feared in lawless countries and in lawless regions of particular states in Africa. But there are specific countries where thugs, gangsters, and all these mafias can never walk freely. They are forever afraid to be known that they are involved in kind of illegal or shady deals. Here, people that are on the other side of the law, they're always put where they belong. If Tompolo was as powerful as most of you think he is, he could have come to bring his brother out of prison, or he could have pulled strings to get his brother out of prison here in SA at Sun City. But just an example, I'm not going to go deeper into the details of the brother who's in prison, but I just want to paint a picture to the world and to all the Nigerians that no man deserves your respect or your fear if they are not living right. The day you live in truth and the day you accept the Spirit of the living God, the day you believe that you are standing for the truth and the day you believe that God is on your side, you will fear no man. Any man that can hate the flesh is nothing. And one thing that should always be seeded in your subconscious or in your mentality, one thing that I wish if all Africans can make peace with Okay, let's say if all Christians can make peace with the same way that our Muslim brothers and sisters have made peace with, is the fact that death is inevitable. You and I, we are both going to pass away. We are not getting out of this life alive. And it's not a life that is worth living on the verges of fear. That what if they come after me? What if they do this to me? The essence of living, or the essence of being alive, is to make a positive contribution to humanity. Forget about all the material possessions. Forget about being rich. Before you can start acquiring or start, surrounding yourself or attracting all that life has to offer, make sure that first and foremost, you treat each other with love, respect, and kindness. Those are the best qualities for being a human. Whenever a man now crosses this line or this circle of being human, and then they become inhuman and evil, never be afraid of those kind of people. They are the ones who should be afraid of the good ones. For how long are we going to live in a world whereby we are terrified when we hear the names of evil men? Not in my reign, not in my generation, not in my time. Even if Mr. PDT goes tomorrow, I can promise you one thing for sure. At this time, at this point in my generation, I've inspired thousands, millions that are going to do it better than I'm doing it. That are going to take on the baton stick and run with it. This thing of false prophets, false bishops, and all this charlatanism in the church of God is going to come to an end. It might not be today or tomorrow or the year to come, but I can promise you and assure you, I had a dream like Martin Luther King. One day is one day. You shall witness the end of charlatanism. And your children, your children's children, they'll come and grow up in a much safer society than the broken one that we are currently living in. So like I was telling you about Mr. Tompolo, most of you want to know the relationship between Tompolo and Jeremiah Omoto for fame. I've said this times without number, or just in brief, that Jeremiah Omoto does not own anything at Mercy City. Jeremiah Omoto for fame, he is just a puppet of the big bosses. The owner of Mercy City is Tompolo. Tompolo is the one that controls everything at Mercy City. Jeremiah Omoto for fame is just the front man. The private jet that he brags about, I'll come to South Africa with my private jet. That's not even his private jet. That jet belongs to Tompolo. Tompolo is the one who fought for that land where Mercy City is built. Tompolo is the one who controls all the activities in that Mercy City. So the question is, does this exonerate Jeremiah Omoto for fame from this case of baby testimony, of the abduction of baby testimony? Or does it make him an accomplice if he has nothing to do directly with the abduction of baby testimony? Because I'll tell you one thing for sure. At Mercy City, this is not the first case where kids go missing. This is not the first case where kids die in the premises of Mercy City. This is not the first instance where people, ordinary adults, who go there without any, medical condition, live there in boxes. It's not the first time. And Tompolo is known for his rituals. He practices rituals. He's a ritualistic man. He does sacrifices of goats and all form of animals. They throw blood in the river. And that is his tradition. That is his kind of practices and beliefs. If you can check most of the clothes, there's a ritual that they normally do yearly where he wears this white t-shirt with a lady whom they call their goddess. That's the goddess of Tompolo in this entire cult. Tompolo practically has his own cult. His own cult which believes in sacrifices of animals and stuff like that. We do not know if the sacrifices end with animals. But one thing we should all know, that anything that has to do with most of these rituals, they always overlap into the sacrifice of human beings. So let's get back to the question before we dig deeper into Tompolo. What is Tompolo's contribution to these cases of missing children at Mercy City? Like I told you before, Jeremiah Omoto for fame has little or no say in most of the things that happen in Mercy City. He's just a stooge. He's just the doorman who is meant to market whatever and attract and pull crowds to this shrine called Mercy City, so that these ones of rituals can have access to control the destinies of all the souls that are gathered in this shrine called Mercy City. That's why I call that a shrine, because there's nothing of God that is happening there. Everything that is happening there is a disguise to lure masses to come in with their children. That's why Ruth Matthew went there and left without one of her child, one of her children. She left there with a missing child. And up to now, there is no fair explanation of how this child could have been abducted or could have got missing. And the reason why Omoto for Faith will never and will not release that CCTV footage, because the boss says so. Chances are Tompolo boys are the ones who control the surveillance cameras at Mercy City. And the day Jeremiah wants to raise his head and try to challenge or take over or gain his freedom from this bondage or from this grip of Tompolo, that will be the end of Omoto for Fame. That will be his end. I did an audit of Jeremiah Omoto for Fame on a personal level. The man literally gets whatever that is left after Tompolo has taken all the profits that come out of Mercy City. That hotel that you see at Mercy City, it's for Tompolo. If you are in Mercy City, tell me, how many times have you seen Tompolo coming to that hotel? How many times Tompolo and his boys? How many times? If you are in Mercy City, I have files about Tompolo and his engagement in Mercy City. But what is of importance is establishing his relationship with Jeremiah Omoto for Fame and what could be his contribution to the missing of baby testimony. When it comes to baby testimony, we don't care who is who stands for what. They can go all of them to hell, but we are going to scatter them. We are going to dissect them and open them up until they release baby testimony. We will hit the dog until the owner comes out. Jeremiah Omoto for Fame, wherever he is right now, he's tired of this. He can't take this anymore. It's his name that is being mentioned. That's why one day he made a prophecy that in 4 days the child will come out. But the big guys, on the high table said, no boy is coming out. No child is coming out. And he was left a liar, a false prophet. He was left with a prophecy that was unfulfilled because the bosses had said no to bringing out baby testimony. So now it's time to go to the higher table. It's now time to hit where it hurts. It's now time to expose the entire syndicate, because here we have just been touching and browsing. The reason why we spend the entire 22 just scraping the surface is to try to put Omoto under some form of pressure that can make him also put pressure to the responsible authorities, or that can make him do the right thing if everything is within his power. So let's put Tompolo aside for a minute. Let's talk about Brekete, the ordinary president. I'm just summarizing it here before you listen to the conversation that I want you to listen to. Let's talk about Brekete. Many of you have been asking, why did Brekete fall out from this case? Why did Brekete leave this case before it was resolved? Why did he just step aside? We've asked Mr. President, ordinary president, several questions. We've called him out several times. We asked him to give us sufficient reasons why he left the case of baby testimony unresolved. Mr. Ordinary President has never came out to explain why he dropped out Ruth Matthew. He has never came out to bring out his investigation. And most of you have been wondering, was he paid? What happened? Was he threatened? What could have made him drop a case like this? Most of you know Mr. Ordinary President as a brave man, a man who fears no evil, a man who touched the untouchable, a man who stands for the truth. But I can tell you one thing for sure. When it involves the likes of Tompolo, there's no tough men. There's no brave men. Those are the most feared men in Nigeria. And according to the information that I have, there are several calls that reached the ordinary president. Big offices that told him to step aside with immediate effect. You ordinary president, you have a TV channel, big one, you are doing well. Who is this woman? She's just a disabled, poor woman. What is she going to contribute to you? Walk away, turn your back on this case if you want things to be well for you. But if you persist, if you insist, we will show you who are the rulers of this land. And of course, Mr. Brekete family, what did he have to lose? All he had to do was to cut Ruth off and continue with this program and look after his own. Because he knew this was about to get complicated. He knew the Brekete family was about to be buried under a huge pile of debris. So he had to walk away, forget about the missing child, I have my own to deal with. After all, this is a Christianity kind of a hassle, problem, predicament. Why do I, a Muslim, have to deal with their issues? Let them resolve it. They went there together alone and whatnot and whatnot. But at the same time, he had to put his reputation, his integrity on the stake. And he couldn't fight till the end. And in his justification, he said, if I did what I did, and then I had exhausted all that I could, I had reached my capacity. That's what he said. I had reached my capacity. Instead of you, Prof X, and other people coming to question me why I stopped, why don't you take from where I left and continue with the case? I did my best. I reached my capacity. The question gets thrown back again at Mr. Brekete. What was your capacity? Was Tompolo your capacity? Were the high offices that called you your capacity? We shall forever drag the ordinary president until he gives us an answer. Because the way he left this case hanging, it has left so many people wondering if he discovered something about Ruth Matthew, or if he realized that Ruth Matthew was lying about the fact that baby testimony was taken from Mercy City. He can never come out to say all those things because all those things are not true. Jeremiah Omoto and the entire damage control team for Jeremiah Omoto, they have tried to sell as many narratives as possible. None of them held water. Many people have said Ruth Matthew is lying. She knows where the child is. So you are telling me bodies, humanitarian organizations like the Brekete family and other criminal investigation organizations in Nigeria, in Delta Wari, do not have the resources, cannot combine all their resources and expose Ruth Matthew as a liar and bring sufficient, intangible, substantial evidence that can prove to the world beyond no reasonable doubt that Jeremiah has nothing to do with this. Evidence exhibit that can prove that Ruth Matthew indeed sold the child, that Ruth Matthew knows where the child is. You think these people do not have those kind of resources to expose that truth? The reason why they can't expose that truth because that truth doesn't exist. The only truth that holds water, the only truth that stands is that baby testimony was abducted at Mercy City. I want you to listen to the letter that Sister Chantel is going to recite for you, which is going to talk about some few issues that I've just spoken about concerning Tompolo and the reason why Jeremiah Omoto probably has his hands tied and cannot do anything about this case of baby testimonies because of the fear that he has for this man called Tompolo, because it is believed that Tompolo controls all the admin and all the activities that happens at Mercy City. So Jeremiah is just being used as a fishing rod to trap the fish, to lure the fish. And once the fish gets in the net, then the master will come and chow and devour. So listen to this very, breakdown of this information by Chantel. Check it out.
So I only got the name, the number, which I'm not going to put the number, but the write-up is long. When I mean long, it's long. You can see that. So when I hear this from Prof X, because I did not pick the notes. When I was watching Prof X yesterday, I heard the name Tompolo. She now said, and he's dragging Tompolo into it. And I remember I read something about Tompolo, and it was also related to disgrace. So I said, okay, now I understand better what I was reading that day that I just left behind. So please, as you're joining, hit the love and like button and let's share. This is a new story that I'm bringing up. So I want you guys to see it, hear it, and think of one or two reasons why. Probably, okay, I'm just guessing. He said, Ishekiri and Ijo has long time issues. Ishekiri and Ijo said they have long time issues. That is still on ground. Those two communities share the land of Mercy City. As I was saying, he said these two communities share the land of Mercy City. Those workers and pastors in Mercy City are mixed with Ijo and Ishekiri. According to their agreement before the land was given out, Mercy City paid dues every month to the community. The secret behind the power of the land is being known by some of the Ishekiri workers and pastors of Mercy City. The pastor cannot arrest any pastor or member, neither sack them anyhow, because of the secret of the power, and the secret of the land will be exposed to the world. Showing the CCTV footage will capture a lot of things that the world will be shocked to see. I don't know if you're following me on this discussion. I've read it a long time. I just didn't think about it until this video Professor even played here. It's anyway an old video of disgrace, but actually woke something up in my head. Like, I've read this thing somewhere and I've come across this name Tompolo. So that's why I'm bringing it out to you people, so that people can at least share the same idea, and let's see how we can discuss about it. Grace and other pastors and some workers are from Ishekiri. Grace is from Ishekiri. The prophet, that's Pharaoh of Worry, cannot arrest disgrace or the workers and any of those pastors that have hand in the missing child. If he tries it, the world will be shocked of what will come out of that place. I'm reading, now read, I read. This is a message that I've read long time, since on the 8th of December to this 24th. Okay. Aside from that, Grace has prepared for this situation long time ago. She kept deep secrets about the man. He's talking about Jeremiah. His voice recording, discussing about the child, the missing child. That's my baby testimony. What he can do for the child to be released, according to what he said. If Jeremiah does not have hand in the missing child, Jeremiah now knows that the Shekiri that are working under him, that has his secrets, are the ones involved in the disappearance of the child. That's what this message is trying to say. And these are the reasons why he cannot arrest any of them, and he cannot show us the CCTV footage. So if this person is doing damage control for Jeremiah, I don't know, and I don't care to know. But you have to tell me what you think after. Okay. What he can, disgrace and other Ishekiri member can take Mercy City in 3 days if everything is exposed. Are you getting the story now? The name written here is Grace, but me, I will never make mistake. I will still call her Disgrace. Okay. Why are people saying the pastor should arrest Disgrace? He cannot. If he tries it, he is already falling down. Other Shekiris are in support of their so-called sister called Disgrace. Majority are the Ijo, majority are the Shekiri. So this is a war between the Shekiri and the Ijo that are in that Mercy City. And there's a secret in that land, Mercy City. That is why what Jeremiah is protecting. And the Ijo people are trying their best to, the Shekiri people are trying their best to take that land from Warifero. Okay. Shekiri will not want their person to be humiliated by any of the Ijo. So now get this straight. Shekiri is disgrace. Ijo is Warifero. So Warifero cannot even come out and address disgrace or arrest her. So all this while we were shouting, why is this man not going to arrest disgrace if he's innocent and all that? Okay, now we are getting to somewhere. The man has no land. Okay, land. No, I'm not going to read that part because it doesn't suit me. Okay, no, let me just read it so that it not look as if I'm biased. The man has no hand in baby testimony's disappearance, but that does not mean he is not a real man of God. He knows everything that happens to the missing child. He knows who and who are involved. People who are mostly involved are the Ishekiris. Those are the people that knows and also play 1 or 2 roles about the missing child. So it will be difficult for Worry Prophet to release such CCTV footage. I don't know if you're following me. Say hi, please. Say hi. So that day I was very tired. I just came back from work. I think it was in the morning, and I just had to just reply him by saying, you can send as many as you can. I will read them later. So I still have some of my chat there as well. Okay, good. Even at its stand, the man is not standing on his own. There are people who makes him to stand. There's Prophet Jeremiah that is even boasting like one Zimbabwe gorilla that I'm coming to South Africa with my private jet. He not even stand with 2 legs. That's what this write-up is saying. He's not even standing with his 2 legs. There are people who makes him to stand. The moment any issue comes up, things will tear apart and he will go down. He is just like somebody then put in a place to work for them and in return. So Jeremiah himself does not even have the power. So whatever he gets from Mercy City, he has to pay dues for this thing. So all those math he has been, running. See, if this write-up is true, let me say I'm alleging, but it's a write-up. And I don't know if it's a damage control. They are trying to make me understand something else and try to, play a fast one on us. So we are very smart. We're smarter than them. So for me to have kept it long before bringing it out now, you know that it wasn't important at all. So I only got one person saying hi to me. Magisa, compliment of the season. We are very fine. Thank you. How are you? Please, my people, if you're hearing me and you're following the story, please say hi. It's just for who can do it perfectly. And it happens for him to be the one who can do it perfectly. So there must be something. The person deleted something there. The person has deleted something there. So probably, okay. The story is going to wave a little bit, but we will still understand. It's just that it's just for 2. It's just for who can do it perfectly. And okay, let me just deleted something, but I believe we can still catch up. And it happens for him to be the one who can do it perfectly. What are they doing? And he was choosing. So it was like, whatever thing they were doing, and he was chosen. A man came, a man named that I can't mention was chosen before him. There was a man before Jeremiah. So it was like, they are gathering. Let me use the word fraternity is okay. It's a nice word, fraternity. So they were in their fraternity and they had to choose probably who is going to take that Mercy City, who is going to lead it. There was a man, according to the write-up, name came up first. They chose him. He was chosen. A man named that I cannot mention was chosen before Jeremiah. But because that man cannot do it perfectly, it was handed over to Wari Pharaoh. At first, along Refinery Road, where the church was first located, before they came up together with the 2 communities, now agreed to give out the land, which they later had issues with the Nigerian government through the help of a man called Tompolo, who fought well to get the land out of federal government. You see where that name Tompolo now drew my attention. I've read it somewhere. Okay. So it was Tompolo that fought the good fight for them, that actually won the land that they are calling Mercy City or Mercy Land today, that they now handed it over to, okay, who fought well to get the land out of federal government. Once upon a time, that land was once a battlefield with security force and the Avengers militants headed by Great Tompolo. Okay? An agreement was made to cease fire between the federal government and the Avengers because of that security force. We are forced out of this. Were forced out of the land by the federal government. Before the building of the church, the 2 communities came together to raise money to build up the church through the help of the great Tompolo. Even the Tompolo owns a lion's share in Mercy City. So Jeremiah just they do gorilla, they do zazu, he not even gets. Okay. Okay, once upon he deleted something again. So let's keep on going. Once a time there was a serious issue that make army build a checkpoint in front of the church. He didn't go into details about the issues though, or he or she, I don't know. Okay. Once upon a time there was a serious issue that makes army build a checkpoint in front of the church. When appointments of the church was given to one side, even the issue was settled. A written letter was sent. Sorry, he said army checkpoints. Yes, that was okay. Thank you very much. Army checkpoints. So a written letter was sent to federal government to withdraw the army from the front of the church, but deploy few in the premises in case of any arising issues. Okay, something was deleted again. So I followed it up. So I already know what, was deleted, but just I prefer to say what is written here. So I don't want to start assuming or putting words that are not, just in case. Okay. So something was deleted. The reason of all this write-up is not to blame anybody. When they said the man is innocent, he is not on his own. He cannot do anything on his own. He takes action. If he takes action, it will involve the other side. This write-up is mixed up. Let me try and put it. Let me read it the way it is. It will involve the other side the most. Okay, it will involve the other side the most. He is afraid every day by day. He is also tired, but don't know what to do. He told me some secrets. That means the person sending me this is in that same messy city there with Prophet Jeremiah. Okay, so I will jump some parts because I think it's going to describe who the person is. And for those people who are there, might just know who the person is. So I'm just trying to protect some. You people should try and do everything in your power and arrest disgrace. You will see how Ishekiri and Ijo issue will start again. At this time, the man is even praying for disgrace not to be arrested. That means Jeremiah is praying that they should not arrest disgrace. That's his prayer now, according to this person. He is afraid that disgrace should not be arrested. It is very important that disgrace should not be arrested to protect him. Just to protect him and whatever secret he's having in that land called Mercy City. Okay. Even if any sacrifice is being made for the prophet to have the eagle eyes and for the ground to call crowd, he is not the only one doing those sacrifices. Elders of the home are still at home doing what they do best. I want you to be picking from it too, because there are some parts I did not even read. Probably you didn't see this, but if you had seen it, probably would have deleted this one as well. Don't forget, once disgrace drag half of the anointing with them, disgrace has boys, girls and boys, men that are threats to the nation. Disgrace is nothing compared to those that are backing her up in her evil. Disgrace strong past Jeremiah. The missing child issue is a drum of war between these two communities. The missing child issue is a drum of war between these two communities. Federal government, he deleted something again. Federal government can't easily involve in this issue because it took years to come to a dialogue, sit with the Avengers and the Sea Pirates. Federal government are very much aware about this issue going on. The federal government are very much aware about this issue going on. Wow. The issue now is how can we enter into it that will not lead to any issue? When you mean enter into it without getting anyone arrested, is that what it meant? Without involving the CCTV footage, without exposing Jeremiah, without exposing a lot of things in Mercy City. Even the government and the commissioners of police are just that very careful with this issue and with the people involved. Okay. The rest of it here is like an advice, which telling us what to do. So I'm not going to read it out. I can't tell you, okay, this one is about Brekete. The person just went on and on and on and on and on. I can't tell you that Brekete was contacted by the commissioner of the state. I can tell you that Brekete was contacted by the commissioner of the state through the government of the state to let this issue go, just to avoid not to cause more issues with the Shekiris and the Ijo. And he was told about the people involved. So Brekete knew, according to this write-up, that this thing was concerning these two communities. So he decided to withdraw. And due to the fact that it was the commissioner of the state that went to Brekete and told him to withdraw himself, that was why Brekete withdrew himself, according to the write-up. Here is another thing again. So I will bring this one out. That the grace, we people, Chantel, every one of us that have been fighting for baby testimony, that the grace we people we have is because we are not in Nigeria, and many are not from Nigeria. Anyone who talk about the church, they will either die from an unknown sickness, or one or two things will happen to them, unless they hurry up and go and apologize. Now I know why Jeremiah like apology and public one. Unless they hurry up and go and apologize to prophets, worry prophets, to forgive him. I don't know if you guys are picking some things from what this person said to me. Jeremiah is not afraid of anybody, but who is afraid of is the Ishekiri. Is the Ishekiris. Hold on. I think I'm going to lose this again. Okay, let me leave that part because I think it's still going to affect the person. He also knew that. There are some things. The person did not give me the permission actually to read this out. Let me keep the rest. But at the end of the discussion, after everything he has sent to me, he now wrote, please pray for Prof X.
Need I to explain more? But this just gives more like a summary. But we are going to open up this whole thing piece by piece, item by item, until baby testimony is released, until they free baby testimony. Now we're going to see if they're really tough, if they are tough enough to withstand the force of being exposed. Because if they've been hiding in their cocoons, thinking that it's just Omoto who's going to, to absorb the heat, this time around we are extending the bullets, the firing shots to the respective targets until they release baby testimony. And my advice to them, they better do it sooner than later. Because when we are done, when we open them up, those pages might not be easy to page, might not be easy to close. Those wounds will bleed forever. So this is a warning that I'm giving to Tompolo and company, to Jeremiah Omoto and his bosses. Send this message to them. Let them hear it and let them prepare. We are coming full force, and they are going to release that boy by force, by fire. By fire, by force, or by force, by fire, whichever way sounds better. 2023 is not going to be a good year for these people. And 2023 is the year they have to make their decision to release baby testimony. With that being said, check you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. It's Mr. PDT. I'm out.